Imagine building a city wall out of industrial waste. Even Japanese artillery during World War II could barely damage it. It's hard to imagine just how strong its defenses really were. When the wall is cut open, its interior reveals countless crucibles embedded in a tightly interlocked pattern. These crucibles were ancient iron-smelting containers used to melt iron ore. Made from highly refractory clay, they became incredibly strong after enduring repeated exposure to extreme heat. However, after years of thermal expansion and contraction, they inevitably developed tiny cracks. Although no longer suitable for smelting, they were too valuable to simply throw away. Instead, these discarded crucibles were reused to build the city walls. Of course, crucibles alone weren't enough to withstand heavy artillery. To reinforce the structure, large amounts of iron, slag, and lime were packed into every gap between the layers of crucibles. Molten iron was then poured in as a binding agent, filling the spaces evenly. Once the iron cooled and solidified, it formed an internal skeleton of exceptionally high strength, locking the entire wall together. Finally, the outside of the wall was covered with a thick layer of blue bricks, giving the structure remarkable toughness, so impressive that some compare its performance to modern reinforced concrete. However, while crucibles worked well for the walls, they couldn't be used for the city gates. Since the gates had to open and close constantly, they had to be made of wood. Against modern artillery, though, wooden gates could be destroyed with a single shell. To prepare for the possibility of enemies breaking through, the streets inside the city were designed like a maze, with ladder-shaped layouts and numerous dead ends. For the residents and defenders who knew the city well, this caused no inconvenience. But for invading troops unfamiliar with the layout, it became a nightmare. They would quickly lose their way, while defenders fired relentlessly from second-floor windows. Covered passageways were also built between houses, allowing defenders to attack, retreat, and reposition without exposing themselves to close combat. In addition to this advantage above ground, an extensive network of underground tunnels connected different parts of the city. These tunnels served as shelters for civilians while also providing ideal routes for ambushes. The city even featured an additional gate on one side. Since it was surrounded by water on three sides, if the city could no longer be defended, the defenders and civilians could quickly evacuate by boat along the waterways. Once all these defenses were in place, you had successfully built an ancient fortress with extraordinary defensive power. Although the city itself was relatively small, its military record was remarkable. Historical records state that Li Zicheng's peasant army once attempted to capture it, but eventually abandoned the siege after failing to break through its defenses. Later, in 1941, Japanese forces surrounded the city, believing their modern artillery would easily destroy its walls. Instead, the shells left only shallow dents in the fortifications. After weighing the cost of continuing the assault, they were forced to withdraw. Through repeated tests in real warfare, this remarkable fortress truly earned its legendary reputation as an impregnable stronghold.